Good evening, model railroaders, and welcome back to the Second Section podcast, where it's just regular folks talking about model railroading. I'm your host, Andy Dorsch, and joining me this evening is my co-host, Mike Ostertag. Mike, stop staring at the damn TV.
I'm in a mood.
Seriously.
I am in a mood.
Turn that off. You got a podcast to do, buddy.
I know,
It's like I'm talking to my 9-year-old right now.
No, I'm not. No. No, I'm trying to do something and I'm getting irritated and I'm in a mood and I'm just, I'm glad our guest is here because he's going to bring calm and serenity to everything that is going on. And peace and love to all that is involved in the hobby.
Well, this could be the last show for us tonight, based on how things are starting off here.
Oh, jeez, Louise.
Let's welcome Steve Atwell from Midwest Model Railroad to the Second Section podcast. Steve, welcome. How you doing this evening?
Good. How are you guys?
Well, we know how Mike's doing. He's on one tonight. So
look, I've had a week.
Have you? Do we need to talk about it? I know you were working late one night.
Yeah, it's got nothing to do. Believe it or not, it's got nothing to do with working late, and basically everything to do with my my beloved pet. So, and it is nothing that is really appropriate to discuss on the show because it's really gross. So
dogs are gross.
This was exceptionally disgusting.
So moving on.
Moving on. Happy thoughts.
So tonight on the show, we're gonna get to know our guest Steve here a little bit. But then I did threaten you guys with we're gonna review this article here from the Cowcatcher magazine about just how is the state of model railroading. So I'm gonna just, instead of burying the headline here right away, it says holding steady but weakening ? So we figured we'd bring in an expert here to talk with us tonight to share some insights on what's really going on with the state of model railroading as we know it here in North America. So Steve, first and foremost, thank you for taking the time to come on the show this evening. Welcome. Why don't you introduce yourself to the folks in the section crew who don't know who you are or who your hobby shop is, and just tell us a little bit about your interest in model railroading.
Sure. Steve Atwell. I am one of the owners of Midwest Model Railroad in Kansas City, or Independence. We are the largest hobby train store, model train store in the country.
It's awesome.
Yeah. I got involved in model railroading, had a little 4x8 when I was a kid. Got out of it for a long time. Got back into it for a bit when I was just after college. And then again, when I came off the road from touring with theater for a while. And I was really into scratch building for a bit. But now most of my modeling time is spent working on the train store more than anything else.
That's what the hobby has turned into the job.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how, I guess, I don't even know how to say this.
Just tear the Band-Aid, dude.
We're gonna
rip off the Band-Aid. That's all you can do.
We're gonna tear the Band-Aid off. So
you want me to do it?
No. I got a bunch of lead up questions here that I tried to write them down, but anyways, so HO scale, N scale, do you dabble in S scale?
I am primarily in scale. Like everything that I own for my personal stuff is in scale. I've done some HL scale modeling kits for some other people and some builds for some other people, but 99% or better of my stuff is in scale.
Okay. And then do you have a preferred railroad that you model, or you kind of model everything? Do you get into the freelance stuff?
I don't get into any of the freelance stuff. For a long time, my plan was Norfolk Southern. and I never really got around to building the layout. At one point, I just put up a switching layout, which was 100% just a switching puzzle. There was no specific thing to it other than just something to operate.
Okay. Now, did you, with the Norfolk Southern, when did they take over, or when did they start back in, was it the 90s? 80s, 90s? I don't remember. I don't know much about Norfolk Southern. What era of the railroad do you model?
I was my plan was to model of sort of a fictitious modern day Norfolk Southern running coal out of Southern Illinois, Southern Indiana.
So, okay, so Southern Indiana, it's a little switching layout. So so and modern. So does that mean like ditch lights and all that carry on with N scale?
Ditch lights. Most of my Norfolk Southern stock came prior to ditch lights being standard and N scale, but now I would say half, at least half have ditch lights and N scale, which is great.
Andy,
Yeah.
June 1st, 1982.
Okay. See, he can be
I'm a
taught.
researcher.
What do you
Early
mean I can
80s.
be taught?
No, I'm talking about me. About me. No, that's cool. So modern day NS. Now, is that project ongoing inside the store, or is that just been?
It is not. Everything in the store is there are a couple layouts in the store, but they're just they're display layouts more than anything else. People run whatever they on. Some days there's a Japanese train running on it. Other days there's, Amtrak freight, whatever. It's store layouts are just about display.
Okay. So how did you get tangled up in owning a hobby shop?
My father was getting back into the hobby in like 2010, 2011 time, or I guess 2010. And the thing that we kept running into when he was trying to purchase stuff to build out scenes was that there was not like a nice consolidated place that he could get the majority of things. He was getting like 8 or 10 packages, like, oh, I got school bus from this place, and I got everything had to come from its own place, and he just kept paying shipping. And it's got like, there's got to be a better way to do this. And so we reached out and said, what can we do to consolidate this to make it easier for the customer?
Right.
And surprisingly, I was surprised that a couple distributors were like, we totally believe in what you're saying, and we're happy to work with you to see if you can do it.
So and that's when the store was born. So when did Midwest Model? So I've seen Midwest Model Railroad now. A bunch of YouTubers have it flash up in their intros and stuff like that. Years ago. So how long have you guys been around?
2026 is our 15th year.
Oh,
wow.
So we've been 15 years in the market. We were in a house for the first 8 years, and so now we've been we've had a storefront now for 7 years.
Okay. Now, has it always been the same storefront, or have you upgraded?
We have upgraded. We started when we moved out of the house initially, we moved into a 2,000 square foot space.
Yeah.
And that lasted us about a year and a half. We thought at the time that, like, oh boy, we got all this space, we're not gonna have to move for a while, because we were moving out of like 1,000 square foot basement. But once we moved, making things easier for just trying to make things more efficient, try to be able to get orders out quickly, product in quickly, we realized that we really needed more space than what we had taken. And some space opened up in the exact same building that we were in, and so we had to move about 150 feet. And we came in on, at Friday night at 5 p.m. or Friday, it was literally as the mailman picked up that day, we opened the back door and just started carrying everything down the back of the building and into the new space.
Boy, you gotta
and started
really
shipping again on Monday.
So
this website is sweet.
Steve, was the original concept of the store to be a brick and mortar for people to come in, or was it originally designed? The first thought processes were product in, product out, like mail order type stuff.
It was never a plan to be a brick and mortar store. And then when we finally decided that we were having a year-end meeting and we were discussing what to add to the store next as far as inventory went. And the discussion said, we got to stop. The last shipment of stuff from Rapido is still sitting on the shipping table. We have nowhere to put it. And that was not an acceptable thing for me. So we decided at that point that we were going to move. And then once we got situated into our new space, it was like, well, why don't we just open the door to people? Like, they have to be willing to shop a warehouse.
Right.
It was absolutely set up as a warehouse. It was set up for us to pick orders and put things away quickly. It was absolutely not your normal looking hobby shop. But if people were willing to do that, we were willing to have them in the store. And we've stood by that same method now for the last 7 years, even after the move.
I think that's really cool.
Expanding again. It is very much a warehouse.
So the brick and mortar was basically born out of necessity then.
Yeah, we needed the space, and the space that we had available to us was in a strip center. So,
yeah,
I think this is like, I don't know. I like the idea of basically doing like a warehouse or like wholesale type shopping. I don't know. I just like Costco, is my favorite store.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, go ahead.
Jim from Athearn has come out a few times, and he and his wife refer to it as the Costco of model trains.
Yeah. No,
but like you can see that picture there in the background. It's all those shelves are like 6'2" or something like that.
Wow.
And it's just I think that we have a lot of parts bins in the store now.
Yeah.
Little blue plastic bins that are, everything from a soda can size up to a
and you have
computer
it all.
size.
You have it all.
I think we've got something like 22,000 bins in the store now that are all, all individually labeled. And ultimately it's about our pickers being able to get orders out the door as fast as possible. So the pickers get a sheet that says, walk to aisle 8, section 3, and go to bin 2217. And that's where the product is.
So do you pick as people are in the store, or do you? Okay, so
our first picker comes in at depending on the day. One of our pickers shows up at 7 o'clock in the morning and starts picking orders, and we'll have carts. He'll have a substantial number of orders picked by the time the shippers show up at 8:30 or 9, depending on which day. And then they just pick nonstop all day long. And 99.999% of the time it works great. It has occasionally happened where somebody goes to pick an item and there's somebody walking around the store with that last item in their hand. They pick at some point.
I was just going to say that's
yeah. Mike bought the product online at 2 o'clock, and at 2 o'clock when Mark went to go pick the product up, Andy's wandering around the store with that product in his hand, waiting to go to the cash register already.
It's a good thing Mike knows where Andy lives.
Yeah, that has happened once or twice over the years.
Well, that's really this is incredible. I love I love the concept of just kind of the warehouse wholesale type aspect, but like it's the whole experience you guys have. Your website, you've changed this now a couple of times over the years. Is this a new release?
That website is I think like a 2021.
Okay.
Maybe 2020. when
Oh,
we moved to that platform.
yeah, because it's sharp, and I tell you what,
I
I find everything there.
I Greg from Macrail, he and I just met up at Amherst a few weeks ago, and every time I see
Sure.
him, he always laughs about the fact that he's like, "No, I shop from you because it's like a game now. When I need an item, I know that I can once I type in that web address, I can check out in less than 7 clicks. Like I can
Yeah,
find the product, have it in my cart, and be checked out in less than 7 clicks."
right. There's no fumbling about, and like if I'm looking for something, like your search bar, if I'm looking for battery replacement, for my Digitrax, comes right up. So your search works really well. I like it. No, it's a good website. I'm sorry, I get nerdy about computers and stuff. That's kind of like my day job, and so I have appreciation for when stuff like that works really well. So no, that's awesome. So you've been doing this for a while, and so I imagine that you've seen a thing or two over the course of the years in terms of the hobby, in terms of the health and trends and stuff.
Yeah, it's you know, every year there's a new, you know, phrase that one of the magazines will slap on the cover in a major article that really makes them seem almost disconnected from what is happening in the hobby.
Yeah. Let me before we yeah, let's talk about it. So what's overall generally, we'll end the show right after this. This will be the fastest show ever. How
Jesus.
what is the state of model railroading right now according to Steve?
I mean, we're in a good space. It's the hobby is different than it was 30 years ago. The hobby is different than it was 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Technology continues to push this hobby forward. Uh, DCC was once the thing you strive to get, and now DCC is sort of the entry point. Like everyone, that's just expected. Um, more technology is coming onto the layouts to make layouts more interesting. The the time of the gigantic basement size layout, I think, is probably past us for the most part. That is not the main goal anymore for most hobbyists. Most hobbyists now realize that they can build a reasonable size layout and add enough technology and interesting things to it, animate it, that it can keep your interest between what's going on the layout and operations on the layout. It can keep your interest just as long as anything else.
Hmm. Yeah, I think I share a lot of the same sentiment. Do you feel that there's um since now DCC is like the basically the entry point, do you feel that some of that technology in terms of price is going to kind of level off, or do you feel that we're still going to continue to open up the range of price as we continue to add technology to, I mean, like, let's say we'll talk about these new locomotives from class 1 or Aurora Miniatures. They got the rotating fans, right? And the doors on the long hood that open up and stuff like that. That's stuff that,
Let's we
yeah,
should since that one came up, let, they don't open.
they don't.
They are modeled. They are molded and modeled in that position. You can't move them, and you don't get a choice. They are randomly done throughout the batch.
Oh, so you don't even get to, like, if you wanted to pick the fifth one down, you don't get a
Yes.
choice. Well,
Yeah, that was we saw them up at Amherst, and the general manager at the store asked about them pretty quick, and they were like, "Well, actually, you can't close it. That is the position. That is the position that it will always be in." Go ahead, Mike.
let it out, dude. This is our space.
As a 30-year veteran, as a locomotive engineer, and a 33-year veteran of actually running the 1-to-1 and working with the 1-to-1 stuff, that is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. It'd be one thing if they figured out a technology to open and close it so that you could actually have it as kind of a gimmicky thing, but to actually have it permanently open all the time is an absolute waste. I mean, it's nothing but a shelf thing. I mean, I don't myself personally. I don't get that. I don't understand that. I don't understand it.
So you
at
won't be
all.
making that 100% deposit to get it?
I will not. No, I will make. Oh, yes, I will. I will be making 100% deposit of 0.
Yeah.
I have seen videos of them and everything else like that, and the rotating fan thing it's neat, but again, who's paying attention to that when you're operating an engine or a train on during an operating session? Nobody. If it was a static display in a shop facility, that would be cool. Being shown like it was worked on or on a module somewhere that it'd make it look like it's being worked on. Then those open doors would really be cool. But I don't run around with doors open. So, I mean, I have back on the Green Bay and Western, the 316 and the 318, they would overheat, and we'd open up all the doors in order to try to get a little bit more airflow into them, and it would work, but that's the exception, not the norm. To me, I think that this is a part of the hobby that's unnecessary and something that is a gimmick that is just for sales. There's no operational aesthetic to it at all. It doesn't help the hobby at all to have those doors open. Sorry.
No, you don't apologize. It's
okay.
I
mean, I honestly, I just think it's dumb.
So,
you're getting a lot of support there, Mike, in the chat.
Yeah, I think the chat agrees with you, and I think it's interesting, but I didn't know that they didn't close, so that kind of changes the ball game for me. I thought they had like little hinges in them. Guess not. Sad day. I kind of feel like I was duped on that one. But so what do you like as a shop owner? Do you see the vendors then trying to outdo themselves?
I think this is a good example of, yes, they're trying to differentiate themselves by making something gimmicky is probably the best way to put it.
Yeah.
That is just unnecessary. It works like from the manufacturing side, like it's an extra point of contact. Like it's just an extra step in the process. Like
new failure point.
Well, and even not as a failure point, but like it's an extra step. Every step costs something.
Right.
I was just going to say that, Steve. Like, when you brought that up, the first thing that came to my mind was, what is the differential between the tooling cost that would go into that shell and how many different tools they need for all those different door arrangements being open, like you said, because it's random, compared to just making a straight closed door long hood.
Yeah, and I think if I was to guess, they probably do a single tool that is missing the door entirely, but they still had to make a separate tool now just to produce the missing door. So there's going to be that additional cost. Plus, there's a person is picking up that molded door and having to glue it into place on that model.
Yeah.
It's just an extra contact point. It's an extra failure point.
Plus the tooling for this detail of the prime mover portion on the inside of the portion of the door, because that's part of it. I mean, there's extra tooling cost involved. That all drives the cost of the locomotives up,
So this is a good comment here from Tom Klomoski. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. It's the old Jurassic Park line, right?
Right.
But I do have, so with, I want to circle back and wail on the class 1 locomotive a little bit later. But for the people that are just kind of jumping in, Steve, you said that we're in a good space now. What do you think really is making it good? In terms of, let's just say, Like, or no, I guess we'll just leave it open ended. What do you think is really making it good right now?
I think there's a lot of people getting into the hobby that are. I mean, I feel like we keep having the same. Not you and I, but like I feel like this discussion's been going on for 4 or 5 years, where
Yeah.
there's a group of people that says the hobby's dying or the hobby is contracting, and they keep going to shows and they keep going to these things that are more traditional routes that you would see people through the hobby.
Mhm.
That is just not the modern route to the hobby anymore. The modern route to the hobby now is through content creation and what, like, you can go onto YouTube and find all the educational material you want to about the hobby.
Right.
Like, you can see how to build a tree 1,400 different ways on YouTube by 1,200
Right.
different people. So it getting into it is easy. You don't ever, like, a hobbyist now never has to be social with anyone if they don't want to be. You're not required to go to the train show to look for the thing you need anymore. You can just
Go to your website.
open up you can go to the website, purchase it, and be done, and go back and get back to whatever you were doing. I think, a lot of the hobby used to be, I mean, model railroading has always been a collection of hobbies more so than a singular monolithic hobby. There is the people who love the electronics. There are people who love to do the scratch building and the kits, and there's people who love the scenery, and there's the people who love just to put the models together, and just, there's the collectors. There's the people who love to do the track work and never make it past, a plywood layout, but they could care less about the scenery.
Right.
And like, none of that has changed. It just has migrated into, we have all these manufacturers now that produce all of these super high detail things because a lot of, where do we want to invest our time? Do we want to invest our time into putting on all those tiny detail parts by ourselves? Would we rather invest our time into operations? Would we rather invest our time into animating the layout? Would we rather invest our time into doing scenery on the layout?
Right.
And like for me, I would rather buy the locomotive fully detailed because I would rather spend the time, working on electronics of a layout, animating a layout, the layout is alive with trains. But it's weird that it's odd to me that as much of the layout is alive with trains, everything else about the layout is generally static. All of our trains now have sound. The layout is just a static, empty sound.
Right.
There is no sound. There is no lights. There is, everything about a layout is stuck in a single time in a single place. It's like having a moving train rolling through a picture. Like, for me, I would rather see a train moving in a video type situation versus, the layout should be just as alive as the train is.
Yeah. So like, switch stands that are animated, and what is it? Iowa Scaled Engineering, they got the little noisemakers, right? So when you walk up in front of it with like a photo sensor, it plays a sound to, like, the industry or woods or cars on a highway or something like that.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
We've been developing, like myself, I partnered with an electrical engineer a couple years ago, and we've been developing environmental type modules for things. And the first one we came out with, we announced them last year at the InScale convention because I happened to be in town. It was easy to, but like, we just launched our first Environmental Sound Pro, which is a sound module that, it can be push button, it can be sensors, it can trigger it however you want to. You can trigger it with an Arduino if you want to get into that. And it comes stock with 16 sounds already loaded on it. But then also, like, I'm so sick of like closed architecture, everything. We just open it, like, you can plug it into your computer view as USB and load whatever sound you want on it.
Is this Jackson rail car?
It is.
Oh, cool. So I'm gonna bring it up so that,
because I've never heard of this before. This is kind
shameless plug time. We gotta take a look at this. So this is what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just a little card, a little chip, and then you have your, looks like power in and then hooks up to a speaker, and then that's
Yeah, and
it.
we tried to we tried to make it as open as possible, right? I don't want to sell you a power supply, so we made sure it was open to 9 to 24 volt DC. Most everybody already has that on their layout. Just hit the terminal blocks with it. The speaker output, we put a speaker output on it that's 5 watts, 4 or 8 ohm speaker. We don't care what speaker you use. Put a speaker on it that you want to, under 5 watts, it's good to go. It has a line out on it for those people who, for whatever reason, would want to hook it up, or there are people who've installed sound systems on their layout. Might as well enable that to be hooked up. It has a sensor header block on there, so you can plug in a sensor to trigger the thing. It has push button. There's a rotary knob to select between your 16 sounds. Like, this is just the first one of our chain. Like, we have a lighting module coming out next that's in production now. And the huge thing here that we have not released yet, which will get up, and all of these boards are updatable. So like when we release the new firmware, you can plug it into your computer, put the new firmware on it, because the big thing that hasn't come out yet is we're putting it all into a single ecosystem. All the devices will talk to each other so that you can type in a web address, pull up an entire web server, and just be able to set everything you want to, just clicking the mouse rather than trying to set all the dip switches and header pins.
That would be nice.
Are you gonna offer like any wildlife? I may be misunderstanding this a little bit, but are you going to offer any kind of wildlife sounds and stuff like that? Like
you can put whatever sounds you want to it on it. Our goal wasn't to sell sound packs.
Okay.
We talked about it at one point. So we tried to choose. We had 16 slots for this one, so we tried to choose 16, sort of covering a range of topics. Industry, trains, nature, rivers, things like that, city scenes. But the very first one that somebody sent us a little clip of was somebody loaded up a station announcement for their station. And then another one loaded up a defect detector on it, and it waits till the train passes and then makes a defect detector call.
You got a full spec sheet along with support right here on your website.
So see, Split Rock, now you can get even more enhanced loon noises on your layout. Loons. He's got a thing where you come around as part of his layout, and all of a sudden the loons come along. It's absolutely awesome.
So then, how is it triggered? You said we could trigger it anyway, right?
Yeah. So any contact closure. So if you wanted to, it all depends on sort of any contact closure. Just you can install a contact closure however you want to. Our sensors,
we make a momentary switch. It could be a photo sensor. Anything to turn the power on and off, basically, right?
Yeah, and then we've got and it's powered the whole time. So like the trigger is just sending a signal to say time to play.
Nice.
And then we have our own sensors that are in production right now. So if you wanted to just put a photo sensor on your layout so that, as the train enters this area, just, you install it between the rails or something. As the train enters, it plays during this thing. But like engagement, I think, is like a big word here. Like people want to be engaged in a layout. Like I was just visiting my father, and my nephew was over, who's 2-ish.
Yeah. He
wanted to be engaged in a layout, and that meant his engagement in the layout was grabbing things on the layout, which, but had there been a bunch of buttons he could just press on the front and it started making noises, or lights started flashing, or gates closed, or whatever the case may be, he would have been just as amused with that and not stealing things off the layout.
That's really funny you should mention that, because the Model Railroad Club that I belong to here in town, we've started incorporating those tactile type interfaces for when we have open houses, so that the kids can come and interact without actually grabbing the trains as they go by. Like we have a hydroelectric dam scene, and we have a crank where the kids can turn this crank, and then it spins the turbines in the dam, and then it makes electricity, and then obviously lights up the scene. But it allows the kids to touch and interact with it, and I think that's a great idea. I got the little the good old gimmicky outhouse here, right? My son loves that. We were running trains the other night, and he's sitting there just pressing the button, making the dudes, poop in the outhouse.
That's because he's what, 9?
But it wouldn't matter. I mean, he sits there. I have the toggle switches with the LED lights, right? And he's, so I think you're onto something there, Steve. I think this is a really cool idea.
It's a phenomenal idea.
I think I think this bog scene needs one of those. I think I'm gonna have to pick one up. And,
so you can put up the 16 different things on it, right? You said.
Yeah, you can load 16 different sounds on it. If you're using it in like the most basic way with a sensor or just a push button trigger, you sort of select one sound that you're going to want that thing to do, and it triggers that way. But if you have the ability to tie it in and use like an Arduino if you wanted to, you could you could put it on a stadium scene and have that Arduino trigger in sequence whatever. It has an extra you have external control input. We have information on that, on how to do that.
Yeah, this is awesome.
For those who want to get really into it.
Awesome. All right, I just added one to my cart. that's how I like. We'll have to talk about all the other accessories I need to buy with it. But yeah, I just made sure I have one in there so I can walk out with it tonight before we stop the show. No, that's awesome. So I think you're right about the different types of immersion, that we would want to take our layouts to the next level. What are some of the negative things that you see out there right now?
I mean, I don't really see it. Like, the most negative things in the hobby are generally,
besides
personalities.
People.
Yeah, I mean, that's really what it comes down to, is personality. Right. I do think the hobby, especially our technology providers in the hobby, have a product that is, it is in desperate needs of upgrade. Like, the fact that DCC is still our absolute go-to standard, and it has been for 40 years, is is questionable at best. Like, we've no longer kept up with even just basic consumer. There's more technology in the smart light in my ceiling than there is in my model railroad. Like,
right.
Yeah.
There are huge openings to come forward in that area. Somebody will do it, but like, you look at somebody like NCE, and they've been producing the exact same power cab for 25 years now.
Right.
It's great that you can have a product that is evergreen like that. But these manufacturers could be pushing the hobby forward, and they're just sitting instead. I think I saw a thing from, and the thing is, I think MRC has been saying it for a few years, that they're releasing more of a Wi-Fi based DCC system, but it's not ready. Like, they've been working on it for a while, and it was displayed at the show, but there's still no release date on it. There's no full, but like, they're finally bringing in, technology from 2010s instead of from 1990.
It's interesting that you say that, because oh man, no, I can't remember his name. I had it right on the tip of my tongue. I can't remember, but he passed away several years ago, and he was pioneering dead rail in HON3. And I am shocked that technology hasn't made leaps forward, because with the way electronics keep getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and battery length, or battery capacity, yes, thank you, keeps getting longer and longer and longer, and smaller and smaller and smaller. There's no reason why, as far as I'm concerned, I don't understand why that hasn't been something that has made leaps and bounds, because that would open all sorts of different doors, I think.
You mean like just to go to straight battery power?
Just dead rail. You have dead rail. You're just like
Yeah.
the real. You're running. Every engine's got a battery, and the batteries, the DC, it still has DCC, but the batteries are running the power instead of having a generator. You know, every engine is called up and goes when it needs to. You know.
Yeah, I've looked a lot into like why we still have DCC when the wireless technologies that are available to the general public are so readily available. And you know, the speed and reliability is why DCC still exists, because that power is running on the rail. That power is, you know, as most, you know, on copper. I mean, I know that's not copper rails, but like,
yeah,
the signal that's going to your train is
right.
running on copper. But one of the big things people say about something like a Wi-Fi based system is, you know, you really, what are you going to do? You're going to put one access point up and then bad signal going around. But like, access points now are getting cheap enough that we really need to look at.
You can get those little plug-in ones.
Yeah.
The extenders.
I mean, and like mesh networks are becoming a common thing now.
Exactly.
Like that, I'm working on the firmware right now for that. I'm working on the upgraded firmware for that sound module. And I mean, if you look at that, anybody that's into the electronics world, if they look at that card, they can see that there's an ESP32 sitting on the card. And the benefit of an ESP32 is it can run its own, it can be its own server. Wi-Fi is built on board. So like the firmware that I'm working on right now is integrating the whole thing as a mesh network so that all the devices can talk to each other, and you just have to talk to one and it'll show you all the others.
So are you gonna use like an IoT protocol like MQTT for something like that, or?
We're really looking at I'm working with sort of the expressive mesh network setups right now.
Okay.
And then overlaying putting our firmware on the backbone of that.
Okay. No, it's just interesting how that little card basically, yeah, it's going to allow you to basically set up your own little network of sound modules on the layout, or any. I mean, you could configure.
Yeah, I mean,
pretty much anything.
It will be everything that we have in production, everything that we have in the pipeline right now has what we call it RailNet, has this RailNet core built into it, and that's sound, that's lighting. We have a speedometer coming out.
Really?
We have crossing controller coming out, so that the idea is, you know, all of these things you plug it. There's no more, you know, go through a manual of 400 different settings and move the pins or flip the switches or do all of this. You plug into your layout, it recognizes that it's there. It shows up on a computer screen for you if you want to set it up that way, or you can go through it the old-fashioned way and get out your micro screwdriver and flip the dip switches and turn the knobs. And
that's pretty cool. So we've been fairly candid on the show this evening. First, maybe I'll let Mike ask a couple of questions before I go into some follow-ups here. Mike, do you have anything besides the look?
Yeah, could you guys both explain every single acronym that you just went through? Because I have absolutely no idea what you're talking. I'm monkey go forward, monkey go backward. You know, that I know is what I'm. That's the extent of what I do. Any electronics I usually have to deal with is 600 volt, and I just look at it and say, yeah, look at that, that's burning up. I'm going to get off.
Yeah.
So no, honestly, I guess we've talked a little bit about layout size, and we talked a little bit about the technology side of it. And Class 1, I just want to preface, Class 1 puts out a really nice product. They do. The majority of their stuff is really, really well done. This is just one of those things that I think is a swing and a miss. That's just me. So, but how much more of the same regurgitated things are the manufacturers going to continue to pump out into the ether? At what point does the market reach its saturation point with certain things? Like there's only so many ES44s you can buy before, you know, that, like, there are locomotive models, like Scale Trains came out with the SDL39. I've got one back there, and I think Andy, you might have one too.
I have one. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, they came out with the SDL39, a very niche type of locomotive. I've been hounding one specific manufacturer to come out with the GP28 because of that same thing. I'm like, hey, Scale Trains just made something that only had 10 of them. You know, there's only X number of this were made. Why not? And they're still in the United States running. So, you know, how long before the market gets to a saturation point where people just don't buy anymore because they need something new?
I don't think we're going to get there. I think it's, you know, the same reason that Ford produces a sedan every single year is because they sell the sedan every single year.
Yeah.
There's a new 16-year-old every year. You know, there's a whole class of 16-year-olds every year who get the 20-year-old sedan, and mom and dad get a new sedan. So I think there's a lot of, I mean, you'd be shocked that the number one product that I continue to pester manufacturers about, and I've been pestering about it for 10 years, is a GP38. Like,
yeah,
a straight 38.
They could produce a GP38 or a GP38-2 infinitely, and we would just continue to sell through them.
Oh,
like, we cannot sell enough, or like we can never buy enough of these models. And it's funny because every time they say, well, they didn't move very well. Like, what do you mean they didn't move very well? They were sold out the same day they arrived to you. Like, you know, and part of that is like, did you not get enough pre-orders? Like, they were sold out at the manufacturer immediately.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and we blow through them in 3 weeks. Like, the market is clearly there. Like, give me some 4-axle locomotives.
Yes.
I was actually talking about the GP28.
Yeah.
It's one, it literally is, and I talked with the company, it's literally one segment of their block tooling that they just need to change the roof section. Everything else stays the same. Literally everything else stays the same. It's one tool that they need to change to make a 35 and a 28. Nothing else changes. The doors are the same, hood ends are the same, cabs the same. It's literally the same locomotive, just the roof is different. And there were 26 of those built, and they're spread from the East Coast all the way to the West Coast. Kyle Railroad had a whole bunch for a while. I mean, they were generally Illinois Central. Mopac had a couple of new ones, you know, but for the most part, they were all IC. But they spanned the whole country really now, and they're all over the place. And I just seen one is getting rebuilt to a 38-3, which is kind of exciting. Yeah, it's really exciting. They're putting a 645 prime mover in it. It sounds like that's going to be kind of cool.
So to sort of tie into what you're saying, like, for 3 years, Jackson Railcar has been making lumber loads for Centerbeam cars.
Yeah.
They're on the, we're the exclusive carrier of them for a long time. I think they're available elsewhere now. But like, they asked us repeatedly, like, ultimately it was made for the 60-foot microtrain Centerbeam. And when the microtrain Centerbeam was in stock, we would sell hundreds of them a month.
Right.
And then as soon as the microtrain Centerbeam was in stock, we would sell maybe tens of them a month. And so for 2 years, and like, I guess speak ill of the dead now because they're gone, but like, I would approach microtrains and say, can we please get some Centerbeams like on the schedule? Well, there's none on the schedule right now. Like, I will pay for the entire batch. Like you can produce it and just ship me the whole thing. I don't care. Or if you are going to produce it, I will pay for an additional road number and I will take the whole lot. Like, I don't care. Like, and their excuse, they came to me and simply said, well, do you know how much labor there is to build those? Like, yeah, that's why you charge more for them. Like, that's why they're one of the more expensive microtrains cars. They were $40-something a piece. Like, yeah, I understand that there's more labor involved. That's why you make us pay more for them. Like, so even manufacturers that have the molds and have, like, we're a pretty large customer for a lot of these manufacturers, have somebody that says, we will take the whole thing. I will pay you for the whole thing. And they still don't produce, like, get the mold out of the closet and produce the damn thing. And they don't do it. And, we fought that for 2 years. And now, to touch on Jackson Railcar again, like, Andy, if you zip over to the in-scale section for Centerbeams, you'll see that Jackson Railcar is releasing their own Centerbeam.
Oh, wow.
Awesome.
Yeah. It's they did a 74-foot riserless or 73-foot riserless Centerbeam. And we got the production sample, the full painted sample, earlier this week, actually.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, their first, and it's like, it literally came from like frustration of like, why aren't the people who own these molds just producing the trains?
I'm gonna bring these up. So these are let me see if I got the right one here.
I have another question too when we
really
get
cool.
done with this one.
These ones here.
That's the ones, yeah.
Yeah, boy.
Those are slick looking.
Dang. That's N scale.
That is in scale. It's a full metal like, they miss like the weight. They missed the NMRA weight for a Centerbeam by like 0.1 ounce, which is substantially closer than any other Centerbeam on the market. Because they've got, like, it's a full metal chassis, just, to get the weight up to where it's supposed to be. And then the detail is, the detail is phenomenal.
So are the bulkheads metal also, or just the
flat car
portion, the deck portion?
The deck is fully metal. A lot of the previous manufacturers have done like a metal blank that then a plastic sleeve goes over for the deck. But then it ends up missing, but the car's not supposed to weigh that much, and you end up missing by 30% on the weight.
Yeah.
So I love this because if we go back, and you can see I got 4 things in my cart already. There are probably going to be a few more by the end of the show, but you have all of the lumber loads here. So this is crazy.
Yeah, it's funny. Cool. Like, we love selling those things, but
yeah,
they sure sell better when people can buy them with the car.
Yeah, right.
Right. That kind of helps.
Yeah.
Dude, now, do those attach to the car? Like, will those, like, with
they do not attach. They are. I think there's a video on that page if you scroll down a little bit, potentially. They're well, there's not. They're magnetized, so there's enough magnet in them for them to pull themselves together through the car. You can knock the car over and they stay on, but like, there was a video somewhere that like, you could like lightly shake the car and they would stay on I would show you, but I literally only have one here. And they would stay on, but like if you really like jerked the card down, they would just come off. Or, you flip it with a finger that just, if you intentionally take it off, it comes off really easy.
Got a bunch of stuff on N scale. When are these
N
coming out
scale
then?
is, those are supposed to arrive in April or May.
Okay. What were you going to say about N scale?
N scale is growing rapidly. It used to be, it is still smaller than HO scale by far, but like it is substantially growing every single year.
That's awesome. So, all right.
I
Go ahead. Yeah, do it.
All right. So
one.
So what's that?
No, this is going to be the best one. I can feel it.
Oh, well, it might be.
Throwing this out.
All right, it might be. Well, with what we just saw and everything else like that, and how do you think 3D printing on a personal home level is going to affect people buying things through the manufacturer route rather than, hey, I can just get the file and print it, or do you think that it's that 3D printing for things like rail cars and locomotives and stuff still has a ways to go to even be considered a threat to the manufacturers, or because like there's a lot of companies that make details, in 3D print details, and there's endless number. I've got probably tons of that stuff, and I do 3D printing myself, but it's when it comes to the freight car technology and the locomotive technology, I just really don't think that it's there yet. You still need a manufactured base for a lot of this stuff. So what are your thoughts on that?
Sure. It depends on the technology that you're using for the 3D printing. If you're trying to, obviously a filament is never going to be there for the detail that we want. So your minimum going into a resin.
Right.
Resin, in theory, has the detail that you want. But the ability to create the model and create the 3D drafting is not attainable for most people. And then it's, 3D printing. I do a lot of 3D printing myself. I have a filament machine here. I have a resin machine here. I have several more resin machines back at the store in Kansas City. I enjoy drafting. I enjoy doing 3D modeling. I enjoy doing 3D printing. But to get it all comes down to an investment of time. How much time do you want to spend to, some things are relatively easy to draft, but how much time do you want to spend in order to put a forklift on your layout? Do you want to do all that CAD work in order to print it? And it comes to like, will somebody eventually start selling the digital file? There are already marketplaces to buy digital files,
right?
But most of those digital files almost all of those digital files are not to scale at all.
Right.
They may be real good things, but like by the time you scale it down, like I know that if I want to print 3D print something if I want to print just a warehouse rack in scale, and I want to print in the same warehouse rack in HO scale, I can't necessarily just scale it down to half size from HO scale, because the printer has minimums that I need to meet. So like in scale, I may need to oversize the legs or the shelf thickness or something like that, just to meet my 3D printer will do 0.02 mil layers, but like, that's great. That metal shelf that I want to do scaled down is going to be 0.04, but like, I can't do a 2-layer resin print and expect it to hold up.
Yeah.
I've got to make the choice, but like I can do a 0.08 or 0.1 millimeter level print in HO scale, and then we're talking perfectly to scale and expect it to hold up. That'd be fine. So it's not only investment in time to do it once, you now have to do it every single scale specifically in order to match. So the details are there. When you get into some of the like SLS style printing and whatnot, you absolutely could do all the details of the locomotive bodies and everything that you'd want, but then the price explodes. I know there's a manufacturer up in Canada called NAFTA Railroad, NAFTA model, something along those lines, and he does some 3D printed rolling stock and locomotive bodies, and they look great, but the pricing on them is just not something that, you know, I can get I can get a kit for the same price I could get a super detailed ready to roll thing.
Yeah.
So, you know, the we're still a long way away from making it palatable financially. But if you're producing something that there was only, oh, we're only going to be able to run 100 of these things. We can't do a production run. We can't afford to pay for the molds. We can't invest this amount to do the molds. That's where 3D printing is really going to shine. Where you can do a more unique product, you can do 100 of them, and you could, if that market is there.
Yeah, my friend Robert Frischella and I still have some, model. I came back to HO from S. After getting out of HO, I went to S, and now I'm back into HO. But I still have all my S stuff. We've got my friend Robert Frischella and I. We've got 9 different locomotives ready for print. And I could go and print any one of those long hoods right now if I had a printer with enough plate volume to be able to get it on. And that's where the big hang up is. A lot of these, to get something with decent plate volume for larger scales is really, really difficult and very expensive. And so, like, and to what you were saying about the drawing aspect, I've been actually drawing a 1-to-1 version of an MP15 AC long hood for 3 years or more.
Yeah.
And it's virtually done. I've got a handful of details on it, but for me to go back through and do those details and then print it and then find out, oh man, now I need to go back and do this. You don't just print something right away. You have to print to fail and then print to fail and print to fail before you get your initial production, because you're not going to get perfect prints right away. It's just, there's a lot of trial and error there, especially for the hobbyist 3D printer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and yeah, and the splitting or the slicing programs, they'll tell you how much resin you're using. How much you're using. Oh yeah, this shell's going to cost $1.25 to produce, but how many people are going to actually buy that as compared to an injection molded one? Like you said, it'd be fine if it's like a one-off thing. But to do production runs, it's not feasible to do that as a regular. No, like Matt Herman over at 3D Central, he's kind of doing that kind of same thing on a contract basis, right? Isn't that kind of the way he does his stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
he keeps some stock, but he's got, he's
but
got
it's
some
mostly
basic
small batch stuff, right? It's not like here's 10,000 of this. It's here, I'm making 100 of these,
Yeah. And then, it might cost you, you got $1.75 in resin. You've got the electricity, but like you got the electricity to run the thing. You got the labor involved. You got to clean up especially in resin. always a ton of support.
Hate cleaning.
The cleaning, and then it comes down to like, okay, well, I was able to produce one shell. It took me an hour and 15 minutes. So then your 175, at a going rate in the US becomes 27.75.
Yep.
After the employer pays the taxes, and even if you were paying somebody $18 an hour, which is a little over minimum wage in most states anymore, all of a sudden after the employer tax and whatnot, all of a sudden you're at $25 an hour. And then the investment up front for the molds is obviously an investment, but that same locomotive shell is popping out of injection molded one shell every 12 seconds. Like,
yeah. Yeah, instead of taking 7.5 hours to print, instead of 7.5 hours to print one, and then you find out that you have print marks on it and you have to start all over because it's not usable.
Yeah, one of the layers delaminated. Now you got to gap.
Yeah, the layers delaminate, and then the next thing you know as well. And then you sat there, and that happened at the 4-hour mark, and you sat there for another 9 hours waiting for the thing to finish. And next thing you know, well, this is junk. Take it off. So, yeah.
Yeah, I've got a grain bin that has a big, the layers delaminated, so there's a big smile on one side of it where I could install some teeth on the inside and it'd be a great jack-o'-lantern, like, but it was a half inch from the bottom, and it printed the rest of the thing for the next 4 hours.
Oh my gosh, that's just like, did you watch it like just like a slow motion car wreck? Just like,
no, I didn't even pay attention. I didn't notice until afterwards.
Oh man.
But like, it's the cost of learning the process. It would be great if 3D printers are available to do some really cool things, but they're not what most people think they are, which is, a lot of people think that a 3D printer is just set up, press play, take the part off, put it on the layout. And it's just
not even close.
It's just not there.
It's just like my misconception about the GP40 with the doors that open and close. I guess I got a lot to learn about before I go buy one. So that's
what they are good for is larger things. Like you get bamboo. I'm a huge fan of bamboo 3D printers. These are filament printers.
Yeah.
You're not gonna, most of the time in HO scale or smaller, you're not printing anything for your layout for the most part in filament, but accessories for your layouts, boards, plates to do things, throttle mounts, stuff like that. They're perfect for stuff like that.
Yeah.
Switch machine mounts, things, anything, almost anything that you want. Guides, track cleaning stuff. You can do that,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. So, all right, let's ask some different questions here. So as a hobby shop owner, and with the state of the hobby being as good as it is, what are some of the challenges that you face that the normal modeler just doesn't appreciate or see?
A lot of the issues we run into that we hear about most is simply like, we take pre-orders just like any other shop does, but like we'll hear, where's my model? Where's my model? Where's my model? You said it was going to come out. And it's like, well, we said it was going to come out in January of 26 because Athearn told us it was coming out in January 26.
Right.
It's they don't even have it listed as on a boat yet. So like, we'll see it. So there's a bunch of that. Our hobby shop, we have 17 staff there that are just, we'll get a lot of complaints about shipping price. And I wish everyone understood that, like, we don't set the rates. Our store uses real-time shipping rates based on size and weight of whatever's in your cart.
Right.
Like it gets kicked back from UPS and we present it to you with like $1.50 marked up for the cost of packaging and the thing we're going to put it in.
Right.
There's we're running a warehouse just to get things out the door. There's quality control seems to have, it's getting better again, but the last few years quality control seems to have been an oversight for most manufacturers. which is unfortunate.
How does your shop handle stuff like that? So let's say I get a locomotive from an unnamed manufacturer and it comes out of the box and it's a disaster. How do you handle that as a retailer?
I'm happy to name names on these ones because we've fought about this for years. Because we have fought in this industry with the manufacturers, because I don't know if you look, if there's rarely paperwork in the box anymore, but if you look at the return policies and warranty policies on most of these manufacturers, it says do not contact the retailer who sold you this, ship it back directly to us. Well,
Right.
when we tell that to a customer, it just upsets the customer. Like,
Yeah.
we sold them the product. We want to be the responsible party to take care of it for them. If they're willing, if it's something basic, or like, we might reach out to Atlas with them included on an email and say, hey, this basic thing, can you just send them this thing that was missing, or, whatever the case may be, or if it's easy fix. 99% of the time we just take the thing back. And then we get to fight with the manufacturer. Some of the manufacturers are really great, that stand behind their product 100%, and stand behind their retailers to do it. Atlas, Intermountain, Walters.
Sure.
Those are the top 3 on my head right now, but like, there's a handful that are just fantastic. No questions asked. Tangent, same way. Please take care of the customer. We'll take care of you. But there are others that are like, if you take it back from the customer, then we may or may not deal with you. We may or may not make you whole. We're happy to ship it back to the manufacturer and say, here's the thing, and we're going to eat that shipping cost. But there are a couple of manufacturers who said, we're not going to take it back from you. The customer should have sent it back to us, or the customer should have contacted us. And it's like, well, you know what? I'm technically your customer.
Yeah,
They're
right.
my customer. Like,
Exactly.
I made them whole. We fixed the problem for them. We made our customer happy, which was the goal. Like, now stand behind your product or don't. But like, we'll make purchasing decisions in the future on. And we keep notes on stuff like that with our manufacturers. Sure. We ran into a big thing. Christmas season is always the worst season, and so like, going into this Christmas season, we all sat down in a meeting and discussed, and we drafted a letter to our manufacturers that we deal with and say, here's how we would like to take, like, we don't want to jump through all these hoops. Here's our plan. We're going to take it back from the customer. No questions asked. How would you like, do you want an RMA with it? Do you want me to contact you for an RMA? Are we just going to ship it back to you? How would you like to deal with this? And, the good portion, especially the ones I mentioned, were on board immediately. Absolutely take care of the customer first, and then we'll figure it out.
Right.
But there were some, one of them's in Pennsylvania, that just had no interest in participating.
It's funny too, because let's say that's the entry point, right, for someone getting into the hobby. And I saw Mike's giggling away because of what was said. But
that was like subtle, like a Mack truck.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about. How many model train companies are in Pennsylvania?
Thousands.
And everyone's Googling right now, like, who's he talking about? But I mean, what are you doing? Like, if that's that person's first like entry point to the hobby, and they get a bum locomotive and they can't take it back, and then they, like, let's say you're the interface, right? You're the interface with that customer or that new person into the hobby, and they're like, well, now we got a whole rigmarole here. Your first experience is, well, you gotta take it back, and just come on.
We literally 99% of the time send them a shipping label, and as soon as we either see it being tracked or as soon as it arrives, we just pull one. As soon as we find out there's an issue, if we have one in stock, we just pull it and hold it. And then as soon as we see it in transit or see it land back at the shop, the new one, a replacement goes out.
Yeah.
And then we deal with whatever that is, with whichever the manufacturers it is. Some of them are great. Some of them are terrible. I don't understand how in this market today you can still bury your head in the sand and just not care about customer service. But several manufacturers still do it, and they're still plugging along.
I don't know. I think it's going to catch up to them sooner rather than later, especially with, I don't know. I think everyone talks now, right? And it's not like it used to be with, with the internet, we're all connected, and sooner rather than later, it's just going to be less and less people standing out in front of their booth at a show.
Yeah.
So
I got another one. This might be the be all end all of questions here, Andy.
Okay, well, I got 3 more, but that's okay.
No, go ahead. No.
Steve, how are you doing? Are you doing okay?
That doesn't count as one of the questions.
Yeah.
Okay.
What'd you have to eat tonight? That doesn't count either.
You don't want to know. Go ahead, Mike.
No. You said you had 3 more. So
no. It's your turn. It's your turn.
What's next? What do you think is going to be next in the hobby?
The industry as a whole?
In the industry as a whole, that's going to absolutely take it by storm, that it's just going to be all hands on deck. Everybody's got to get to this.
I believe it's going to be making your layout alive. I think people's layouts are getting smaller, and there's got to be more reason to go to the layout than just running a trade-in circle for some of the super small ones, or some layouts have 2 industries, but like yeah.
Get that.
First of all,
that was really good.
Before you keep on going, Steve, I am so disappointed in Mike Slater right now that somebody else beat him to that answer.
Yeah.
That was great.
That was really good.
You better, Slater.
You look at some place like Miniature Wonderland. Miniature Wonderland is not Miniature Wonderland because of its, it doesn't have 1 million views or 3 million or 10 million views on YouTube every year because there's trains running around.
Yep.
It has 10 million views because there's a flipping airport in scale. It has
a honeybee flying around with people on its back, and
yeah, like there's it is sold out. They have timed entry over there. One of my bosses here in New York just was in Munich, and they tried to go. They showed up first thing in the morning. The earliest time they could get was to come back the next day at like 11 a.m. Like,
oh my gosh,
it is sold out at all times because people like everything about going in there. They're not looking at a static display. They're looking at something that is truly alive. You look at things that like at our train shows around here, and you look across a room full of modules and things that are set up. And if you look and find a crowd standing all at one module, I'd be willing to bet large money that something on that module is moving other than a train.
Like
like a thunderstorm.
The thunderstorm or the tornado or the
there's always
track.
The NASCAR track.
Yeah.
Or the dirt track.
Carnival.
The carnival is going on, or
like it's my partner, she couldn't care less about the trains running around the layout, but if there was stuff on there with nature and animals and things that were alive, she would stand there and stare at those. Like it engages people who would be unengaged with simply a train running or operating a train.
Yeah.
So do you think that circles back into the 3D printing thing, where people will be able to create things to make the layout alive easier, rather than waiting for somebody to manufacture them? They could come out and like start creating something to do that on their layout.
I mean, to an extent, yeah. Like you're still looking. I think you're still looking at manufacture. Like there's a guy in Colorado who makes carnival rides, midweight stuff, like all the and his stuff is static, but it's only a matter of time before somebody, he does 3D printed static carnival fair, that type of thing. But like once you have that static model, it's only a matter of time before you have somebody who is going to animate that model. And it like, yeah, I mean, you can look, I just saw Lionel pop up in the chat here. And I think that, like, you think back to like Lionel started animating their trains years ago, right? Like it was dumb stuff like things falling out of the boxcar or like,
right.
It was just something else other than train moving that drew the attention of, everyone who may not be a train fan. Even something as simple as like a crossing gate that actually works instead of a static crossing gate draws the attention of a preteen for the entire time that gate's down and the bells are ringing and the lights are flashing.
Functional wigwag.
Yeah.
A functional wigwag. And I know, Andy, who was it that had one of those?
Northwood something.
Northwood something. Yeah. It worked, but it was extremely expensive and kind of cumbersome, but it did work. And I don't even know if they're around anymore. I don't know if they're, but that would be cool.
Yeah. I'd buy 1,000 of them. Everyone. But, yeah. No, it's crazy. That is, I think you're onto something there, because I know that I've been taking the time to make, like I said, with the switch stands, and then like even this little building lights up. It has interior lights. They're sectioned off. I have an exterior light. I got the sound thing back here. It's the next step.
Yeah, when you look at Colorado Railroad Museum, like there are so many people through there all the time. They've got 20,000 square foot, 15,000 square foot, somewhere in there, 10 to 20,000 square foot layout, I think, right? Yeah. Or a building. There's educational stuff in there as well, but they have some animated things on there, but it's mostly a static thing. You walk through it. If you can engage the people in the thing that they're looking at, where they want to come back, or where they go home and they remember that thing? Like, I probably could do that. And all of a sudden, you could get more people involved in the hobby that see it. The hobby is becoming more than just trains. It's becoming the diorama that it's the full modeling experience instead of just the train running on the track.
Like for like some things, like if you had let's say a tank car facility that needed to use steam heat to unload the tank cars, having some kind of steam generating something to generate smoke around there to create to simulate. I mean, obviously you'd want cold smoke, but I mean, it'd be some kind of smoke machine to be able to create. Yeah, thanks. I know, Andy, right? Well, I'm just saying, you'd want it cold. You don't want it
about that.
Oh, no. Okay, that's not what I was insinuating at all. I mean,
since we're talking about fun stuff here on the show.
But I mean, honestly, like if you had a place that had corn syrup and you're modeling the Midwest, you're going to want something that's got steam heat, because you need to run steam through the cars. So when those cars get spotted, those things are going to be they spit and sputter steam all day long, whether it's 80 degrees outside or 10 below. They're constant things like that, right? I mean, animations like that is what you're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. Even like the lumberjack cutting the tree down, and I think I saw it on the Science Museum in Chicago's layout. The lumberjack cutting down the tree that fell in the building. I think that's the first time I saw one of those. It runs through its process. The tree falls over, the roof on the building collapses.
Yep.
A minute later, you've walked away, it stands back up and resets itself and runs again in a few minutes. But like, you know, I might get bored with it eventually, but like anyone who, especially if you have a layout where people are coming, or you're taking a module to a club, or you're taking a module to a show, like it's fun seeing other people engage with the things that you did.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like that view. I like that viewpoint. I think that was one of the things that I really, when my dad and I were doing a modular club, and we would go from shows to show, and the people would come and they'd come up to the water, which was, I think Dad and I, we used some sort of resin, right? But they come up and touch the water and like, oh, it looks real, and they touch it and it's not real, but
Yeah.
just that interaction, right? And boy, I love that. I love that when people would say, "Is that a model? Like that looks so real," and they interact with it.
There was a gentleman who he was bringing modules to shows. I don't in the Kansas City area at some point, but he showed up and he had, a lift bridge module where there was no water. It was a painted piece of plywood, but the full model boat was sitting there, and the boat slowly moved forward, 2 feet. The lift bridge went up, the boat went under, lift bridge went back down, and then it reset and went the other direction. And he built this module 20 years ago, and he loves to show off what he has done because he has built it like I think of theater all the time. Like a theater would have built the chaser circuit on the front of the building for the marquee, right? There is a tool chest worth of stuff under this layout of huge spinning discs and things that are triggering and it's really impressive to look at. And I was standing there with a friend and I was like, yeah, it's crazy to think this all could be replaced by a little credit card Arduino now. And the guy was like, and he argued with me about it. And I was like, no. He's like, I've asked people about this. There's no way. And I was like, yeah, it's totally like your boat is one thing when it triggers, a micro switch here or a magnetic switch here. And he was like, oh, we should talk. I'm like, what you have done is awesome. But like in modern day, it can be replaced by something the size of a credit card.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Andy, do you got any?
No, keep going.
I have
rolling.
I have the question of questions right now.
Oh, okay.
This is the most controversial question I'm going to ask tonight. Do you think, Steve, I'm specifically targeting you with this question. Do you think that social media and the availability of people to basically hide behind what they say and just basically come out and do whatever because they can, not saying anybody specific, just saying that in general as a social media, with the number of shows that are out there and everything else in Facebook and all these other platforms that are out there, do you think social media is helping or hurting the hobby?
I think content in general is helping the hobby because it is reaching a group of people that are not generally included in our traditionally included in our hobby. The drama aspect of it, I know that a lot of people like to get caught up in the drama and like, there was one the last couple of days that I absolutely took some time to read the comments because I thought it was hilarious. But part of it was me just simply being like, please just tell me who you're talking about rather than trying to be, not you specifically, but like this post, I was like, just tell me
the whole thing,
Yeah, just tell me what this is about because like, I would like to know. I would like to know which manufacturer you're talking about because I do have relationships and I could potentially be like, come on guys, what the hell are you doing? They're not going to listen to me, but at least I could have the conversation with them. I think a lot of that for most people just gets chalked up as entertainment more than anything else. I don't, I think most people in the hobby especially can look at it and just be like, yeah, whatever. And I think a lot of the people who do engage with it are people that in your normal life are the same people who like to poke the bear anyway. Like these are the same. These are the same
shit
people.
disturbers.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because I mean, like I know, Andy, you've had a lot of positive interaction, and I've had a lot of positive interaction on our Facebook groups, and not just the second section one, but I mean on our own personal ones with your Mascoutin Valley stuff and my Farland Terminal stuff, and it comes out to where and I'm a member of several other groups where it's really interesting to see the way the interaction goes because the simplest question turns into the most nightmarish answer thing that you ever want to see. And I'm like, and that to a certain degree, that really turns me off to that.
I think there are, to what you're talking about, like, I think there are a lot of groups where people will post and just ask some basic questions. And some of the responses to these basic questions will be like people annoyed that the question was asked, taking the time to respond to the question. Like, you could have just moved on past. Yes, the question may be easily searchable on Google. The question may have 1,000 answers already on YouTube, but like
that person might not know that.
Their phone could have been sitting out and they thought, I belong to this group. Let me just ask them real quick. I don't have time to do the research on it. Somebody will just give me an answer. And it's amazing how many people seem to stop at those things just to be a dick. Like, when like this person didn't like pull you aside and ask you this question and you now feel it's beneath you. You, for some reason, pulled yourself aside, asked yourself this question because it was not like it was just there. You've decided to approach the question yourself and then be a dick about it.
Yeah. I mean, people are, if they're asking a question, they're probably genuinely looking for information regarding what they're asking about.
Yeah.
And I'd rather ask a question and see nobody comment on it than get 100 comments that do have nothing to do with the question itself.
Yeah.
Because that's just a waste of my time now. That's all that is, and I'm not saying, we've all had some fun with each, with an inner circle friend group type of thing, where somebody will ask one of us, hey, what about this? And, everything goes off into the spirals downhill from there.
Into the toilet.
Right into the toilet. But as a general rule, if you're out in the ether, like on Facebook, and you're asking a question on, the Covered Hopper Facebook group, and you're wondering if a certain type of car was a Thrall or a Pullman Standard, and how can I tell the difference between the two? Well, that's not the time to sit there and start, getting on the guy for being an idiot, for not knowing the question, to not knowing, why are you asking that? How can you not know in this day and age? How do you not know that? Well, because the guy is asking because he doesn't know.
Yeah, we all had to learn it somewhere.
We had to learn. And in social media, there's everybody is an expert in the know-it-all on social media. Everybody's, everybody knows everything, So I mean, it's so I just
I mean, it doesn't and it doesn't just stick to social media. It happens in one-on-one. Like, it happens one-on. I have witnessed it against myself in one-on-one. I was working on a project recently where I what I would call did some internet research, and like worked on the project, did some internet research, and I was coding something for a website, and like, did I do it a weird way? probably. And a friend of mine who is in that industry looked at it and he was just like, oh, I see. He's like, oh, this is pretty great. There's some weird things in here, but it's pretty great. And I was like, yeah, I just, trolled the internet and found some instructions. And he was like, oh, yeah, I see. Now when you just steal stuff from other people on the internet, it's called research. And it's like, what the hell?
It's like I just finished up Adam Savage's book, Every Tool's a Hammer, which is, guys, if you haven't been out there, get that book, read it. It's amazing. It'll help you in the hobby. Honestly, it will. But he talks about when he first started learning a lathe I don't know if it was at ILM or where it was, but he said the guy that he was in the room with had been running this lathe for I don't know how long. And he's sitting there trying to chalk up this piece of metal to do it. And he looks over at him and the guy just goes,
yeah.
and he takes it out and he does something else with it and he goes like this. And before he turns it on, he kind of goes like this and looks at it. He goes,
yeah.
No comments were made. It was just a physical interaction between the two of them. But he said the thing is he learned from that, and it wasn't malice at all. It was literally the guy helping him, but letting him make his own mistake at the same time. You know what I mean? And so I really feel like that part of the hobby, and because of social media, that has gotten lost a little bit. We all are looking for the instant answer to fix all our problems instead of, and we use social media as a sort of a crutch to do that instead of trying to figure out how to do something on our own and go through a process of figuring out how to do something on our own. We all just go, shit, I'll just Google this up, and that's it.
Yeah.
I've done it, how do I change the headlight on a 2016 Chevy Silverado? I'll take a look at this because because there's a million videos on it, right?
You don't have to reinvent the wheel every time we
right.
The process has already been done. There's no point there's not no point, but there's little point in wasting an abundance of time to rediscover what somebody has already done.
Exactly.
Right. Yes.
My time is worth something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, that's true. No, I code through Claude and Chat GPT, and that's the way it rolls, and get my snippets and away we go. I'm telling you, these AI is going to replace Google, and like Gemini AI, Google's AI is getting really good now too. Have to watch out. You'll be able to just replace us.
I mean,
with AI.
I generally keep a Chat GPT window open on my computer.
Yeah, me too.
Just because if I don't want if it's knowledge that has been in a book for 100 years, or I need to know a formula, or I need to know this, it can it is perfect for that. It can always just it can regurgitate information just fine. If you want it to think, not as great at that. But if you just needed to regurgitate the information back to you, or show you where you can find that information quickly without having to go through a Google search and find 40 links that don't give you the information that you really want, or you have to scroll infinitely to find the little formula you want, it is great for that.
Yeah.
There used to be a time, and I mean, I'm obviously older than the both of you, because I'm goes like me, then dirt, then God, for God's sakes, I think sometimes. But when you didn't know something, you just didn't know it. And then you moved on. And now we've gotten into a point where even in the hobby, where if you don't know something, you have to find it out, and you won't move on until you figure that out. And come hell or high water, you're going to use any resource you can. And that I still cling to using books and magazine articles and old yellow paged books from way back when. I tried not to use Chat GPT for anything if I can help it. I just don't like it. It's I don't know.
Yep. I still use this.
I'm not in the industry, so I don't see the benefit to it, I guess.
Yeah. It certainly saves time. I mean, I'll be honest for some things, but other things, yeah, it's you have to dive. You have to go past that superficial layer with it, and just get down at least one level if you're gonna do something that you really need to get really deep into, because it can hallucinate and give you the wrong answer.
Yeah.
So, but that's with anything. So, okay, let's pivot off of AI just for a minute. We talked about the good, the bad. We talked about vendors. We've talked about what's going on at your store. I guess one of the questions that I always like to ask our guests is, for a person who's just getting into the hobby, what advice would you give them being on the other side of a counter at a hobby shop?
It would be to invest in a quality product from the get-go. Like,
Yeah.
in scale, in scale in the US, don't buy a Bachmann locomotive. Like, great, you could buy a Bachmann kit. Just generally speaking, don't. Buy a decent locomotive. If you're going to go the route of click together track, get some Kato Unitrack, you can reuse it. There was an article years ago about the quote chainsaw layout.
Oh, yeah.
And I think now you can sort of like warp it into sort of the module type thing, but like build a module, build a 2 foot by, like, in scale, HO scale, whatever, build a 2 foot by 4 foot module, build a 2 by 6 module, whatever the case may be, and take it as far as you can absolutely possibly take it. And when you think you have learned everything you can possibly learn from that module, the gist behind the chainsaw part is literally take it out in the backyard, cut it up, and start over. Like, you've made all the mistakes. Like, you're going to make mistakes. You're never, like, no matter how many times you do it, you're going to continue to make mistakes. But like, all those very beginner mistakes that you're going to make early on, generally those aren't the mistakes that you're repeating. So like, get them all out on something that is just a learning process. It's a thing that you built in shop class that you're not, but like, get through that process, learn those steps, and then build the layout that you want to build, or build the larger thing. Like, the idea of sitting on the sidelines waiting to build this dream layout, and then you go to build that dream layout, and then you start making all your like, oh great, I saved up forever, I can now build this large layout in my basement. And the very first thing you do is make all these beginner rookie mistakes, and now your layout is not operating well because you really hadn't learned how to solder the track correctly yet, or you didn't learn that you needed expansions yet, or oh crap, I didn't tape over my rails when I did the scenery, so now I got to clean all this track. Ridiculous. Like, spend an immense amount of time getting all of the glue off the track because I was dumb and didn't do, like, all of these things happen. Like, let it happen in a micro fashion instead of, it's always said that it's a lifelong hobby, right? Like, you're going to continue growing and you're going to continue moving in the hobby anyways. Like, even the people who do build basement layouts most of the time end up changing substantial parts of that basement layout anyway. Just start small. Like, you can get in, you can get going, find out that thing in the hobby that interests you. There's so many different steps and hobbies inside of this hobby. Like, maybe you just want a circular track because you like hearing the clickety clack of the wheels going around a layout. Like, I have regularly sat in an office with a around the walls layout, and like, sitting in the office just turned the layout on, because the metal wheels rolling across the metal rail is just a nice background hum. Like, that was great.
Mhm.
I enjoy
Yeah.
doing scenery sometimes, but it's not my favorite thing to do. So, like, you know, I I can work around that and cater to what each person can cater to what they really enjoy in the hobby. And it's
Mhm.
really great if you can find other people in your area that enjoy other things in the hobby, and you can work together to do this. Like, my father has found people to come over and they're building his layout together, and some of them have layouts, some of them don't. But like, there are a couple of people that come over to his house that are electronics people, and we're happy to do all the servos and this, that, and like, that's good because he'd probably set his layout on fire on accident. Like, it's great that there's someone else that like really enjoys doing that, so they can they can do that. And it's there's enough things to do in the hobby. Find what it is that you really like in the hobby, and the best way to do that is to start small, and you'll stumble upon it.
Here. I think that's really good.
Yep.
That's really good. Um, I have another one, but this one's a different one. If you had your chance to give some advice to a manufacturer to make a model railroader's experience better, what would it be?
Here we go.
Um,
Good one, Andy.
I don't know. I mean, you can also just say pass. I mean, that's
no, it's fine.
Just remember, you're among friends. You're in a safe spot.
Yeah, no, it's like we've touched on some, like,
Yeah.
our industry, the customer service in our industry is a pretty low bar. There's a bunch of people in the industry trying to improve that. I think part of the, like, models have gotten incredibly expensive. They're going to get expensive. The detail that's on them is phenomenal, but not every model needs to be a museum grade model. When that car is going by me in an operating session, I am not noticing every single detail that is on it. So
Thank you. Amen.
some of the models do want that detail, and like, they're being purchased so that like the market is there for them to be purchased. But like, we sell just as many Walther's mainline, if not more Walther's mainline as anything else. And the details aren't there because some people need to build a fleet for their layout and don't need to do it at $75 a pop or $60 a pop for the car. So there is room for improvement in making this hobby more accessible to everyone. And there's definitely room for this in the hobby to push the technology forward.
Yeah.
We're sitting on technology from the 80s. There's no reason that we have not advanced as a hobby. Like, you compare model railroading technology to model aircraft technology, and we look like we're in the Stone Age. Like,
oh my God, that's
it is
right.
It is ridiculous. And I mean, RC cars have, RC cars are a bigger hobby than we are. But like, again, it might be a larger hobby as far as participation, but like, I don't know a lot of RC car guys that own 27 RC cars. Like,
I have one Traxxas, and that's enough.
Yeah. So like, but like, their technology so far outpaces ours, because we're just not moving forward.
Well, have you seen that video of the world's largest RC that airplane, that 747? Have you seen that video yet?
I have seen that
it's
video.
Something like $40,000 worth or something like that of RC. You crashed that thing.
Man, if I built an RC plane, like, it better be the cheapest absolute RC plane possible, because
right?
if it's not, Like, I'm never flying it. Like,
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't make it's not good, but I mean, it makes a $35 or $40 boxcar falling on the floor look like, chump change,
yeah,
for God's sakes. I
Decimal
mean, just
dust.
I mean, it's just the technology and the advancement in electronics with the servos and everything else like that, and how those guys have advanced. You're 100% correct, because I pay attention to the RC airplane community, and it's just ridiculous, the the way they get the pilots to turn head to head, looking out and doing their checks and hands coming up and all these other things like that. The animation, again, like you say, the animation part of it, and it's just incredible, what they do. But I agree with you. I think we're still in the Stone Ages when it comes to stuff like that.
I mean, look at our options for lighting for a layout. And we have, if you want something animated as far as lighting goes, let's say before Just Plug, you're buying a Circuitron board for the most part. You've been able to buy that same Circuitron board for 30 years, and it still costs $25. And you get it, and like, dear God, it looks like a benchwork project that Grandpa put together in an afternoon, 3 beers in. Like,
Soldering iron and 3 beers.
yeah, like,
Right.
and it's nothing has changed about it. And like, I'm happy to talk about lighting because I've done a lot of research into our lighting things, and I work in the industry of lighting. But like, we have a lighting board coming out that does literally hundreds of LEDs on a single board.
Yeah.
I think it's going to hit the market for $90, but like, it's like 48 channels, and each channel can do 3 or 4 LEDs just by daisy chaining these little breakout boards for it.
Mm.
And it's just like, what, and everything, we can set effects per channel. Like, but like, what are we doing that our most advanced thing prior to this was Circuitron, and then we moved to Just Plug, which is literally just DC power running through a rheostat with a custom plug on an LED.
And we shit.
And like, they sell so well, but like, I love the Just Plug product, and I've talked to a lot of people about Just Plug over the years, and I'm like, the thing I have to warn you, you're going to buy the person comes in and they buy the Just Plug starter pack, and then they buy 4 street lights. And I was like, I got to warn you now, if you don't have lighting on your layout yet, you're going to put these 4 street lights on your layout, and it will cost you $65. And you're going to look at your layout for the first time with those street lights on there, and you're going to be like, shit, I need 100 more.
Yeah.
These look so good. Like, just adding lights to your layout, like, you need so many. And good for Woodland Scenics, they built a closed architecture where you really, like, you don't have to buy their lights. You can get around with getting the connector and winding.
Right.
But like, they built an architecture where you want 4 more street lights, you pay $10 for 4 more street lights, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
And this goes back to like my idea of like architecture. There's no reason for it to be closed. Like, we're building a lighting board. Our lighting board's going to come out. Would I love to sell you 4 LEDs for $10? Yes, sure. Why not? As a business, I'd love to sell you 4 LEDs for $10. But also, I don't want to sell you 4 LEDs for $10 because I don't want to deal with, like, go buy your own. Like, same with the soundboard that you're talking about, that we've talked about earlier. Like, sure, we can sell you a speaker. We don't even make it. We'll sell you an ESU speaker. We'll sell you a soundtrack speaker, whatever the case may be. But like, use whatever speaker you want. And same when our lighting board comes out, it's use whatever LED you want. There's a limit per the channel, but like, use a 1.5 volt LED, wire them up as much as you want, install them however you want. You want 01, 02 LEDs, go for it. You want to put a stick LED on there, go for it. Like, it doesn't matter. Like we're so ingrained into this, like, I want to sell the accessories to my thing with a bunch of our manufacturers, and it adds up so fast. Atlas came out with that signal system a few years ago, and it sounded like it was going to be absolutely great. But like, by the time you start adding up all the little parts to it, it was exponentially expensive to do anything with it.
Was that the one with the street lights that with the stop and go lights and everything else like that? Was that system, or is that something? Am I thinking of something else?
I'm not sure. Atlas did it about the same time they released all the BLMA signal stuff back onto the market.
Gotcha.
But yeah, like by the time you add even a little bit of smart into their signal system, you're in several $100s. And it's like, the smarts that are here are still dumber than my light bulb. Like, what are we doing?
Right?
Oh, it's funny because like with just the LED strips that I have for the layout, I can basically program into my phone, them to do a chase or, different types of effects. I can have them do, flashing, like lightning and stuff like that. And I can't do I can't do any of that stuff with any of my layout stuff. Sad.
Yeah.
And see, like for me, I got these, what are they called? The Barina lights or whatever they're called. They're little, what's that?
LED strips.
Yeah, they're the LED strips. And I tell you what, as you can see, it sure lights up the layout, and if I'm not trying to do something on camera, it's great. But in order for, I got my handy dandy little $8 remote here that I plug the lights into, and I just hit a button and I could shut the doggone things out, because sometimes it just sits there and gives you a headache. It's too much. It's too much light, and there's nothing I can do to dim those down or anything like that. So even though I've already invested money into it, I'm already starting to think about, do I need to start looking at something different for lighting? So it's just, it's a never-ending issue, isn't it?
It's fun. It's a problem. It's a problem to solve. It's a problem to solve. That's how we got to look at it.
I have enough problems to solve.
Talking into the mic is one of them.
What?
I said talking into the mic is one of them. God,
look,
turned your head to the side 48 times tonight. I swear.
I'm sorry. It's just
all right.
I'm dealing with issues. So
okay. Sorry you're dealing with issues. So anyways,
so am I.
What else do you got for Steve, Mike? What does the section crew have for Steve?
Yeah, let's do that.
We'll do a lightning round here real quick as we get close to tying down for the night here. And Steve's been a super good sport about all this, the questions and the comments tonight. So let's get those in, and then let's talk about the store a little bit. We kind of started on the store, so we'll end on the store. So what are some of the big things that are coming up with the store here that you guys are doing? So I see that, you got this new line or you're working with this company to do these sound modules. What else do you have going on?
Braden's our general manager, and he's a young guy, which is great. He's very into trains, which is fantastic. And he is hell-bent on adding every single line he can possibly find in model trains.
Awesome.
Which is the store line depth continues to grow every single month. Big things. And if there's lines that we don't carry and he doesn't know about them yet, like any customer emailing and saying, "Have you heard about this line?" He loves that. So absolutely feel free to do that. So, our goal is simply, it's always been to make trains more accessible to everyone.
Yeah.
By this means getting more vendors onto the market, getting more manufacturers out there visible to the public. We love supporting our manufacturers. We do a lot of in-store manufacturing thing, or in-store manufacturer things.
Like pop-up
Catherine's been up
shops and
several times.
promo.
Tangent's, yeah, like BLI's been up, like Intermountain's been there several times, to where they can come in and just, mostly people in the area can be face to face. Soundtracks has been out there and done full days of clinics with people. Sit there and where you don't get you don't really get this opportunity to show. You can distract George for 5 or 10 minutes, but sitting in a room with George for 8 hours, like you get everything that you could possibly want out of that situation, and it's great for our customers, and it's great for the industry as a whole. So we're really pushing to continue growth. We want to find the little niche manufacturers that we can publicize better. We want to find these manufacturers that we can help grow into the hobby. One of Jackson Railcar's biggest things I'm involved with them now. So they're very linked with us to a point, because I'm involved, they're linked. I was happy to help them go from 0 to where they are now, and with their first car coming out, being involved with a shop of our size to be able to make sure that they got the attention that they needed. Because one of the big goals there is to try to to bring down the cost of model railroading. Their Atlas announced a car very similar to theirs in December, I think. The Atlas car is priced at $54.95. Their car is priced at $39.95. Like,
whoa,
that's a big difference.
It's a big difference. And I've been very supportive of that through the process, but like getting new manufacturers with ideas to make the hobby better and make the hobby more accessible to everyone, I really enjoy working with those. And so like that is where my interest going forward is, making the hobby more accessible, making the hobby more enjoyable, making the hobby more engaging to everyone. I try to drag the store along with me in that goal. The store obviously has some of its own goals, and that it has to meet. We're trying to fit. Our space is starting to become too small.
Really?
Yeah.
At 20,000?
Part of that is simply like there's 3,000 square feet of HO scale layout in there. So like we could 100% get rid of a layout, but we don't. Like, we also have evening sessions where people come in and run trains, and like they do run operating sessions on, like, there's a lot of community involvement. There's a lot of community based around our store where we can get these people in and get them into the hobby and let them learn about it. Or, maybe they just can't have their own, they don't have space for their own layout. They can come in and run trains on ours. So like, it's not really a negotiable thing for me to get rid of it. So like, I don't know how much longer we're going to be able to stay in the space that we are in. So I think, there is a long-term plan that we will continue to grow, and we will end up moving at some point to make sure that we can continue pushing the hobby forward rather than becoming stale.
Yeah.
You think you're going to end up building your own structure this next time?
I don't think so. I've thought about that for years. And there's just too many benefits of moving into like a concrete tilt-up build.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Like, they'll put up they regularly put up 200,000 square foot concrete tilt-ups around the space. we don't need 200,000 square foot, obviously, but like there's a lot of benefits. There's a lot of benefits in sharing a space like that.
Yeah. That's incredible. I just,
Can you imagine
20,000 square feet and you need more?
But can you imagine 200,000 square foot hobby shop?
Oh, I can.
You need like a golf cart.
You do.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah,
Sounds like fun.
Vacation for the weekend or for the week to come out and just make your way down the aisles.
Oh man, I would have to. I mean, if we did a live show from there, let's just riff on this for like 2 seconds. If we did a live show from there, and I, with my pension, my habit of buying stuff live on the show, it'd be brutal. I have to take out a second mortgage.
Do you think me turning my head on the show is bad? Just get me inside a store like that once and see what the hell happens.
Yeah.
Cry it all loud. I mean, you'd have to be like a high quality golf course and like have hot dogs at the turn or something like that.
Yeah. We did shortly after we moved into the space that we're in now, we did a YouTube live thing and whatnot. And it was funny. It was a guy sitting at a table, and if people had questions about things, like you would see somebody run around in the background, go bring the thing back up. Oh, here, you can talk about it live on show. Yeah.
Oh, here, this is a great idea.
There you go.
Slater's got a good idea. So you could actually get and ride a train inside the shop from area to area, and just get on, and then you got to take the train out to the checkout, and the whole thing. You could do a whole thing. Oh, that is such a good idea, Mike. I like where your head's at right there. That's a good idea.
Look at this. Impossible Couplers in the chat this evening. Big shout out to Braden and the support he's shown us bringing Impossible. Been a real joy to deal with. I know.
That's awesome. Braden sent me a picture from them the other day. We met Impossible. I think at the InScale convention last July.
Yeah.
And ever since, like, I think the last box Braden got, and I mean, we're talking tiny couplers here, was like a 2-foot square box or 2-foot cube box, and it was mostly full just to try to keep Impossible in stock. Impossible and him have, they're coming down from Canada. So like there's some price point exactly where we order exactly this many because it falls under the number of whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
And
yep,
for the shipment, but it's a really impressive product. It is a really impressive product.
I saw that Grant Eastman from the Southern Alberta Rail. I've been watching his YouTube channel. He's switching over to the Impossible coupler and doing a lot of promo for him. So yeah, I'm curious, but I'm telling you, I love good couplers. I have Sargent coupler, proto coupler on a lot of my cars here on my layout. So I'm one of those people.
I've been using Sargents on my S scale stuff for years, and I've got a bunch of HO ones that I've got to build yet to put on mine too. That's a whole nother show as to whether or not to dive into that or not. The couplers can be an issue.
If you haven't talked to the Impossible coupler guy, like you should get a chance to look at his product closely. It is really impressive what he's done, especially in InScale.
Yeah.
This has gone by in the chat a couple times about that we don't price our products in the store.
Yeah.
And the last one that popped up said, ask him why they don't price the products in the store. And it's actually a super, super easy answer. We couldn't receive the products fast enough if we had to put price tags on everything. Like it's just the scale at which things come in. It's funny that like putting a price tag on, it just adds so much time to the process that we would have to hire probably twice as many receivers and then we would have to raise all our prices, especially when 93% of our stuff goes out the back door, and the collector on the other end generally doesn't want a price tag on the box.
Right.
So it's a balancing act. So what we've done instead is like the only thing that gets tags on it anymore are products that don't come in with a barcode, and we have multiple barcode scanning stations around the shop where you can just take any product and scan it and get a price kicked out. But like, it's come up a couple times, like, why don't they price the stuff? And it's like, yes, it makes it a little bit more difficult for the everyday person that's in the shop. However, we are able to keep our prices lower because we're not putting it on the tab. We're not putting a tag on every single piece that comes through the door.
Keeps your overhead down. It's pretty cool. So you guys aren't stopping at all. You guys are growing, wanting to grow more, bringing new product line in. So after I did my first round of shopping, I saw that you carry like Macrail and Gotham Marine is for detail parts now. So you guys have, all the little cottage industries as well. I mean, like you guys have it all there.
Yeah. We were, it was 2020, and like I got a packet in the mail, like a 8.5 by 11, manila folder in the mail addressed to Midwest Model Railroad from Macrail. And I'm like, what the hell is this? I have no idea what this is. And it was a pitch deck, right? Like it's a printout of like what he's doing, why he's doing it.
Yeah.
He'd really like to be involved with our store if there's anything that he could do to, and it was just like, I think I sent him an email and I said, yeah, sure. Just all of it looks great. And he included a few samples in there. The product looks great. Send me, and I think we were the first store that Greg had his product in. We still work with Greg very closely. And like his product is great. It should be available in more places. His end of train devices.
They're so cool.
Those new ones
he's got
phenomenal.
Yeah. Then that cell tower, that communications tower he did was pretty good too. Yeah, he's got a lot of cool stuff. I always like perusing his website too, but now I can just come to you guys and you guys carry it. So, no, that's really, really awesome. Mike, I always do this. What'd you think of this show tonight?
Well, I think we answered some questions. I think we raised some questions. I think so I think we definitely took things to a very serious and very blunt level on certain occasions. It's always good when you have an industry, somebody that deals with the industry outside, for a living, that sees what the trends are.
Yeah.
To hear their side of the story. And Steve, honestly, all joking aside and everything, if it weren't for hobby shops like you and there would be like large gaps in this hobby. I mean, it's places like you and guys like you that help kind of bring everybody together also. You guys are doing an amazing job out there, and I just I appreciate how candid you've been tonight with the answers, and I know that there's certain industry things. I'm sure I'll get some hate mail from Class 1 at one point, but whatever. But it's just to have you come out and be willing to talk about the topics and stuff, because we don't talk about stuff like this as a rule all the time.
Yeah.
We try to paint the hobby as rainbows and butterflies and you know, and everything's, you know, hunky dory and just, you know, and in reality, there's a lot big parts of it that just aren't, you know, and it's really exciting to see also that how forward thinking you guys are, and you know that's very refreshing instead of just trying to stay in the, you know, in one spot all the time. You're constantly moving yourself, you know, literally, like literally constantly moving. And so I really look forward to getting out there and help christen the new 200,000 square foot space. But honestly, I got to get out the Kansas City Independence area. It's and come visit you guys and see it first person. I mean, it's just, I got to do it now. It's a bucket list thing. Now I got to go.
Yeah,
you know?
I think
you guys should come out. You guys can come out and film a podcast live from the store.
Do a live.
Wow, that sounds like an invite. That sounds like an invite. Yep.
And then,
all right.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea for sure. And then I just got to say, I'm really looking forward to getting one of these sound modules, and taking it to the next level back here, you know, with the blog scene. I think that's going to just really make it, you know, it's kind of take, as Boomer says, it enhance the level of immersion, right?
Yep.
To, you know, have the crickets and the birds and all that playing while I'm standing here switching trains. So
hey, I might have missed it because, you know, I probably had my head turned or something. But
yeah, you probably did.
with that soundboard, just to circle way the hell back to it. But is that soundboard? Could you actually put multiple speakers on that thing so you can have it run from, like, if you wanted to have like the bog stuff in one spot and then have like his sawmill things get triggered at one, like things like that? Can you actually have it work two different portions of your layout with different triggerings, or no?
You could not. You're not going to do it with like a single with the board. You're going to have to use external control to trigger each individual sound. Because the board itself is set up to off the shelf just trigger, select your sound, play the sound in the area. You know, it boots up with your layout. You trigger it, it does a thing. It keeps doing the thing until it's told to stop doing the thing.
Gotcha.
But yes, you can tie in external control where you could write an Arduino program that sent the code out and said, play sound 1 when this thing happens. If this thing happens, play sound 3. If this thing happens, play sound. And could trigger it externally.
Nice.
Yep.
Perfect.
Yep. That might be in the books here. Doing Arduino sketches live on the show.
Let me know.
Yeah.
I have a bunch.
No, I just want to again take a second here, Steve, to thank you for taking the time tonight to come on the show and dive deep, you know, in some of these topics where a lot of other folks wouldn't go. And, you know, the willingness to share and be honest with our audience. We appreciate that. And it was also a good time because there was a few laughs that were had along the way as well. So I'll save the last notes for you, Steve. If there's any other final thoughts, maybe want to tell us where we can find you in the store on the internet, maybe.
No, I really enjoy this podcast. I'm glad that we, I've been from the get-go when I do these types of things. Like, I've tried to remain, the industry shouldn't be some secretive, behind closed door situation. Like, it's not a popular opinion, but like, we're playing with toys. Like, these are grown men's toys. Like,
right.
What are we doing here? Like, we're not sending a man to the moon. Like, we're running trains around a circle in a layout. or around a layout in a circle, or straight line, depending on what you're doing. But like, it's not, this is not rocket science. This is not proprietary stuff. Like, as far as a store goes, it's funny because we're excelling because, if you asked your 9-year-old how he should run a retail store, that's pretty much what we're doing. Like, be nice to the people that come through the door. Like, Yep.
Don't be a jerk.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, it's,
yeah.
We're not doing crazy things here. It's just, we've accepted that a lot of this is common sense, and we should make it as easy as possible for everyone involved. It shouldn't be like, well, sorry, your sun visor was broken. I sold it to you. I'm out. Like,
right.
Yeah.
We're happy to be that place in the industry where people can come, where they know that they can trust that they're going to get their product quickly, and that if a problem arises, that they can reach out to us and get an answer quickly and get a solution quickly. More so than an answer, they need a solution.
Yeah. So I've got the link to the store here, Midwest Model Railroad, up on screen. I also have it in the show notes as well. They're also out on Facebook. They got a Facebook page that they're running out there as well. Make sure that you go and check them out. It's just a great institute and a great store. I made my purchase tonight. I'm looking forward to getting my stuff from Midwest Model Railroad. And I just got to say thanks to Steve and the crew there for coming on tonight. I just got one admin note. The next show that we're going to do, it's going to be on, oh my Gideon. We're going to be coming back on the show. We have our next scheduled show. It's the 22nd of February. It's a Sunday, and we're doing it in the afternoon at 1 p.m. Mike,
Tell him why.
Mike's going to be distracted. Isn't there a NASCAR race on Sunday? Isn't that 2 weeks after the Super Bowl? Aren't we in Daytona territory there?
Oh, seriously? Really?
I mean, that is like the one race a year that I'm not even a NASCAR fan that I could say, isn't Daytona like the week or the 2 weeks after the Super Bowl?
I think it is pretty close. I'll have to look. I will not be distracted. I will behave. I'm not going to be distracted.
We're gonna have Mike Confalone back on the show. He's asked to come back and give a in-person layout tour of his Allagash and Androscoggin and Western Maine railway. I got it all out that time.
You did. I was so proud of you.
and then we're also going to be talking with his wife Susan about operations on his model railroad. So it's bring your partner to operate on your model railroad. Should be a great show. We're going to probably spend most of the show talking about 1970s football like we did last time. But there'll be a little model railroading in there. Plus, we're going to get a tour of the layout, which is going to be pretty sweet. So you're not going to want to miss that one. And then again, thanks to Steve and just taking the time with us tonight. Really got a shout out to Midwest. They've been just fantastic and putting up with me and my bad emails and stuff like that to get this set up. So. All right, crew. Well, as let's see here, as what do I got here tonight? Oh, we're gonna close out. We got to close out, Mike.
Yeah, I'm waiting.
Yeah, you're waiting. Well, when life is treating you like the dirty track and your locomotive has stalled out, what do we always say here at the Second Section podcast?
You actually broke up for me on that. Do it over again.
Right? when, when life treats you like the locomotive going over the spot of dirty track and you short out, what do we always say here at the Second Section podcast?
Just keep modeling.
Good night, everybody.
Right.